Fridays Session 2. So 2 weeks ago, we covered that we are now in the open enrollment period. Very poorly named because it is not an open enrollment period for everybody, right? If we remember last week, we talked about how it is a 3-month window that's a parachute for any of our Medicare Advantage clients that had buyer's remorse. Maybe they ask you, hey, I signed myself up online by myself and I'm not really sure I made the best choice because I don't really understand these plans. Can you help me? Absolutely. So we talked about what our rules are, who we're allowed to use the special election code for. And we also talked about opportunities that arise. And we talked a lot about retention. We, reinforced this is the time of year that you need to retain your clients because the TV commercials continue, the telephone calls continue, the direct mail continues. Sometimes, we don't have the deep pockets of these huge national marketing companies. So what we have to do is what we can do. And so we're going to get into today is really diving in to what we can do during point of service, point of sale to reinforce retention for January. All right. So a little bit of initial client onboarding. And then we're going to talk about what we can do to further onboard these clients to us in January, February, and March. So let's talk about this a little bit. So we know that AEP is what gets us the sale, right? But after AEP is what is going to keep our business going. So as I just mentioned, we are going to cover clear, repeatable onboarding processes that you can follow, how to structure some kind of 30, 60, 90-day touch point with your clients. And we want to do everything we can to reduce churn. And churn means clients leaving you. And a fancy word in the industry for that is called attrition. As your book grows, there's always going to be an element of attrition. Folks are going to pass away, unfortunately. Folks are going to move out of your service area and you're going to have to refer them somewhere else. You're going to have folks that do, maybe y'all just don't mesh well and they chose to go with someone else. We can't take these things personally when that happens, but we will always have a certain percentage of our book that we're always fighting against attrition. And so when we get to the part of our series where we talk about goals, we're going to really put that into perspective a little further for you so that you have a goal for the amount of humans that you need in your book to make X amount of money, and then a separate goal for the average book attrition rate so that you can figure out how many more clients you need just to replace the ones that organically fall off. All right. So one of the things that we want to cover is, just some strategies. Now, I don't want to sit here and say that this is like a one size shoe fits all. You're going to figure out what type of workflow works best for you. Okay. But we do know that when it comes to servicing our clients, retaining our clients, their communication is always best practice. It's always best practice. And how you see fit to communicate to your clients, it's all about laying the foundation up front on telling your client what to expect from me as far as communication. I'm your first point of contact because I am here as long as you will have me as your representative. Laying that foundation. Okay. So we're going to give suggestions. You don't have to do this, but we highly recommend that you start somewhere, especially if this is brand new for you, starting off with good habits. So the first thing you see here is a workflow for onboarding your client at point of sale. I've met with Miss Jones and we had a lovely hour and a half appointment. I took all the notes about Miss Jones. what she disliked about her old plan, what she likes about this new plan, what her health priorities are for the year. I've got her doctors written down. I've got her prescriptions written down. I'm just kind of looking at my notepad over here. And now it's a week after I've met with her and I've submitted her enrollment. Okay. So within 72 hours, it can be longer than that. It doesn't have to be within 2, 3 days. Give that person another call. You wouldn't believe how many agents meet with people. And we know you guys are going a mile a minute. Hopefully, you get to a point where there's not enough calendar hours and days for you to see all of your clients. That is success 100%. And then it's time to pivot. Maybe what this looks like for you is you hire somebody to do it for you seasonally. That can look like anything. A lady from church, one of your girlfriends who's a stay-at-home mom wants some extra dough. Maybe you've got a college age child that wants to make some extra cash, and you're like, here, call these people and welcome them aboard on behalf of me or my company. So there's many different ways that you can accomplish this, but your new client should get that personal touch point phone call. Just confirm a few things. Confirm again, that you submitted their enrollment. Tell them again, remind them what plan they selected, and explain to them why they selected that plan. Repeat what they said, because remember, you took some notes at the point of sale. We're remembering things here. We're putting them in our CRM, and explain to them what to expect. So they should be receiving information from the insurance company on their plan via snail mail, and they should get a new ID card. And if you're aware of how your carriers you represent operate, you can simply call one of the broker managers and say, hey, Aetna, Humana, United, broker manager, can you tell me what the average timeline is for new people to get their ID cards? And just write it down, make notes for yourself. So you can just let your client know, it's probably going to be 2, 3 weeks and you'll get your new ID card. And then reinforce again, I am here for you. All right. So we are doing that warm touch welcome phone call. Again, how you get that accomplished is up to you. Talk to us. We'll help you out. All right. Now, this is also optional. You can send your clients a welcome packet. Everything's available via PDF. The carriers give you summary of benefits. We can help you create a digital business card. We can help you create a what to expect client checklist. So you can tell your client, hey, check these things off. If there's anything on this list that you can't check off, call me so that I can make sure that you have that information. Maybe if their plan has over-the-counter benefits and the carrier has created a little flyer that shows what those instructions are. Most of you are going to find as you get into the sale that there's going to be really 2 companies, maybe 3, that you predominantly gravitate towards and write business for. So I know that sometimes it looks like there's so many products and it's overwhelming, but as you get into it, you're going to see that maybe in my service area that I've established, really we can't tell the clients that it's the best plan, right? Can't use those words, but we can say them. Maybe Humana is the best plan in this area and it fits most. And then that this United Healthcare product in your area is the best for DSNP clients, your Medicaid clients. And maybe this one has the highest dental. And so because you have educated yourself and you've made some cheat sheets, where to pivot. Right. And it's always going to fall into maybe 2 or 3 companies. And so it's easy to have these types of materials organized so that when it's a Humana enrollee, okay, let me grab my Humana attachments out of my Humana folder. Boop, I'm going to email it to Miss Jones. Part of that welcoming and onboarding is also getting it across to your client how to expect communication from me. That is important. Are you going to email your clients? Super economical, right? We all have email. Everybody's got Gmail. That's easy peasy, no cost to you. You can sign up and pay for a text service, but a part of that is your clients have to opt in to receiving texts from you. So if you preemptively let them know, you know what, I'm going to text you important information, or I have a Facebook group, whatever it looks like for you, pick something. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we move forward on welcoming your new clients and onboarding them immediately after point of service? Again, this can look different for everyone. And remember, everything that we talk about today, you need to, if you have questions, follow up with your sales development manager. You're going to get a recap of a whole synopsis of what we covered today. But this is really just kind of laying that inspirational foundation that communication really is key. We watch agents fight to keep their fight to keep their beneficiaries on the books every day. The carrier stole my client. This guy came into the same place that I have events at, and he stole two of my clients. I mean, we hear it all. So, just starting out with good habits. And again, it's not rote. You don't exactly have to do it the way we say it, but just have some form of welcoming. It could be super simple. Maybe you don't do a welcome packet. Maybe you just literally call. That's okay. It's okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this, as long as you keep communication as part of that foundation. So, benefits 101 walkthrough. It's insane the amount of information. And I mentioned this last week. At point of service, we say to our clients, right? CMS requires us to read the entire summary of benefits. Yes, you heard that correctly. Your copay is PCP $0. Your specialist is $35. Your x-rays are. And so there's ways that you will finesse and fine tune that to get through it a little quicker. You'll be able to eventually put examples in there that break the monotony and say, oh my gosh, listen, this hospital copay here, I've got a amazing client. And you can just put stories into it to make it less meh. We really want to make sure that we're reinforcing those benefits. So if you took good notes at point of service and you wrote down that Miss Jones took this plan because of X, maybe it was, I'll say the dental, because that's a big one. A lot of times, it's amazing to me how Medicare doesn't care about our eyes, our teeth, or our ears. And that's what goes as we get old. Those things are not covered under original Medicare. That's why we have these Medicare Advantage and Med Sup plans and dental vision hearing separate plans. But that gives you that power to, I'm going to reinforce to her how her dental benefit works so that I'm not going to have to deal with her being upset. I have verified that if there's a network, her dentist is in network. If her dentist wasn't in network, she clearly understands that she made the choice at point of service to change to this plan, knowing her dentist was out of network. And I wrote down here that we looked through the list of dentists in your area and you picked Dr. Barnes. And, so those types of things, reminding them again, reconfirming the prescriptions that they take, reconfirming that doctor's list. Most agents that have beneficiaries with, some of them have a laundry list of meds. The cost of those medications is important to them, right? That comes directly out of their pocket every single month. So a lot of agents will leave clients with a verbal or a printed out average monthly prescription cost and some instructions. So it's important that, you let your client know, listen, this is the expected cost. Okay. So none of this is in stone. It could change by $1 or $2. Carriers are allowed to drop prescriptions out of their formularies, allowed to not cover something mid-year. And you don't want to scare your client, but you just want to be prepared for that kind of stuff. So that benefits walkthrough is really, really important because they're not going to remember all the things that you talked about. It's just not going to happen, right? We're going to talk about our admin checklist. So this is super simple. This is something that we're going to give to you guys as a leave behind. I just covered all of this. And so, one of the things that stands out here to me is if you have a CRM, it says tag client by plan type and special indicators. There are a boatload of wonderful CRMs out there on the marketplace that cost a fraction. And if you're new, I really recommend starting out best practice on the right foot, digitally managing your client relationships. Don't just use a piece of paper. I can't tell you how many agents I've seen who come to me with a steno pad. Excuse me, with a steno pad. I'm like, this is your client list. Oh Lord help us. Or they just have it in a spreadsheet. Listen, if you're going to do nothing, at least have a spreadsheet. But when you have a CRM, that's going to be extremely helpful for you in managing these relationships. Many CRMs out there that are specific to healthcare for agents do have options to put in plan type, making a point of saying this person's DSNP, this person has a chronic condition, this person qualifies for LIS, they have Medicaid. Those are really great things to keep track of. We have tons of agents that use, multiple different kinds. There are a ton of different kinds out there. And I've experienced agents going and doing demos and being blown away by how fancy it is and all the things that it can do. But this is what I'm going to say. A customer relationship management system is only as good as the effort you're willing to go to use it. So it can have all the bells and whistles in the world. It can post on your company Facebook page every single day. It can send AI email blasts out for you to all of your clients, a monthly newsletter. It can do all those things. But a human, you still have to be the one who enters all the data and puts all that stuff in there. So I have found that people will do demos, they'll get wooed by it, they'll sign up for it, they see the value, and they're willing to pay for these fancy ones. And then 6 months later, they're like, I'm not even using this stuff. I need your help. What can I pivot to? So my suggestion is if this is new and you don't even have hardly any clients to put into the system, I would start out with something simple. There is a CRM company called Less Annoying CRM. Agents really like that one. There is Agency Block that's a little bit more expensive. Like I think you can get it for less than $50 a month. They are built for our industry. So that's pretty cool. So I'm sorry, I got off on a little tangent with CRMs, but I really, 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 truly believe in the value of data. And the larger your book grows, if there's disruption, let's just say Tanya. Okay, I'll just use Tanya as an example. She lives in a county called Anderson. And let's just say she's been in the business for 5-6 years and she's got 700 clients. And 300 of those clients are in Anderson and they're on an Aetna plan. And Aetna decides this year, hey, we're not going to offer that plan anymore. We've got a service area reduction. There's too many beneficiaries. It's too expensive. So we're getting rid of it. She would be able to go to her CRM and say, boop, Anderson, anybody who lives in Anderson, give me my list. There's your list. Anderson, Aetna as the plan. She can zero in and target those folks so she can quickly assess how many of my clients do I need to talk to and let them know about this. Trina just asked in the chat, do you have any thoughts on Medicare Pro CRM? Yes, I do. We have a lot of agents who love Medicare Pro. This is what I would do, guys. I would schedule a demo, go to their website. Usually there's a demo button up top. You can either watch it or you can book one with one of their salespeople and ask questions. One of the things that you're going to want to verify is, am I able to export information? So if you start off with, let's say, a little bit more of a basic version, like less annoying CRM, very cheap, but it's also pretty basic. When it's time for you to upgrade, when you feel like, okay, I now need to reinvest in my business and I'm going to actually pay for one that maybe costs $100 a month or $150 a month. You want to be able to export all of the client and data from the other CRM and be able to import it into the new one. So that's just kind of something that I would verify. Am I able to export lists? We help agents with that kind of stuff all the time. And so I just, wanted to throw that out there. But touch base with your SDM. Is everybody following me so far? I know this might seem like very basic information, but you'd be shocked at the amount of people that don't do this at all. And I understand, again, if you've got a larger book of business, it might not be possible to do that. We have agents and agencies that are barely surviving during AEP. Every moment of their time is scheduled and booked, but they have help that's temporary, seasonal help that they pay. Now, if you're brand new starting out, these are things that you just need to future think of. Right now, you need to create good habits for yourself. But if again, we have to constantly pivot our business model as we grow. And then you guys have to determine, what's important to you, what your priorities are. We can give ideas and suggestions all day. We can tell you what our veteran agents and agencies do. But I don't know what your finances look like. I don't know what your family priorities are. Some folks value a really nice, crazy vacation every year. And then some people are like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. Everybody has different priorities. This is a judgment-free zone, but we don't know that. And we don't know where you're starting out at. So you have to do some self-reflection. I just talked to an agency owner the other day who's at a precipice with their growth. And I said, put all of your expenses on a spreadsheet, everything you spend money on, and really get a bird's eye view of where it's going. When do you pay your taxes? Are you doing it quarterly? Because remember, you guys, you're 1099. You're getting money without taxes coming out. So make sure that, you have that under wraps before you get smacked. But get that in order and just kind of think about what your priorities are, because anything that you want to grow, you have to invest in. So you just have to figure out, how much am I going to hustle? What is it that I hate doing? Or what is it that I hate doing and I'm terrible at it? If there's an element of that, in order for you to grow, because let's be real, you want to be out there selling. You want to be out there networking, talking to people. You don't want to have to spend, 16 to 20 hours a week just purely on admin. All right. Now, in the beginning, you got to build up some income. You got to get out there and learn how to sell, learn how this works, build your referral marketing, join networking groups, join your chamber, whatever it is. I mean, you need to start out there. But there's, it's just a constant evolution, and that's what we're here for. All right. So let's get into our 30, 60, 90-day retention strategy. So now we have talked about setting good expectations and really onboarding a client during point of service. Now we're going to shift into OEP. So this is retaining our client. Okay. We want to retain these folks. The first 90 days of the life of a policy, this is what we call the danger zone. Okay. And here's another industry lingo term for you to remember. The first 90 days of a Medicare Advantage or prescription drug enrollment, we call that the rapid disenrollment period. So let's say we're in OEP right now, January, February, March. Many carriers will pay you first thing in January up front. You get 12 months of commissions up front. So you're going to get fair market value commissions. That's a lot of money, right? If they're brand new, you're getting 12 months and $700. Well, what happens if we don't have a great retention strategy and we never talk to Miss Jones after we enrolled her and day 60, somebody picks her off? During the first 3 months of a policy, the carrier will charge you back the full commissionable amount. So all $700, they're snatching straight back from you. Okay. So that's called the rapid disenrollment period. All right. So not only is that the danger zone, because if they leave your book of business for some reason and you do get charged back, at this time, the clients may have started to receive new bills. They've gotten mail from the carrier that gives them over-the-counter instructions, which is all mostly digital now. They might have to go to a different website and register. They might have changed their PCP and they're getting onboarding paperwork from their new doctor's office. They might not fully understand all of their benefits, right? And so if you have some type of structured process with 30, 60, 90-day system in place, it's going to keep you top of mind with the client so that you can solve your problems fast. So let's just talk about our 30-day Touchpoint plan. And again, none of this is, earth-shattering. A lot of it's just common sense, and it's whatever you can do. Okay. So here's just a little script, and I'm going to read this here. Hey, Miss Jones, I'm doing my 60-day wellness check. All right. So by now, you should have had a chance to visit your PCP for your annual physical, or you've probably filled your prescriptions. Any surprises pop up for you? Any questions come up? Okay, you got your card. Would you mind taking a look at that and confirming to me that the PCP on your card is still showing correctly, the doctor that you picked? Okay, great. And yes, I explained that you do need referrals for your specialist. Has that been going smoothly? All right, so the goal here with having this type of conversation is gauging their satisfaction, mitigating problems up front, resolving any kind of lingering confusion around their benefits. There's a lot that's changed with Medicare Advantage in the last year or two. We're shifting more towards an HMO environment again, where we started years ago. And with an HMO, if you remember from all of your basic trainings, HMO is Health Maintenance Organization. It's more managed care. So more managed care always requires PCP referrals. So hopefully with some new laws and regulation, those things are going to be sped up. I think that the doctors have been put on notice that they have to get these things processed quicker. So that's good. But some of the topics that you can cover during this time is, did you get your ID card, right? Again, that OTC, over the counter setup, any confusion with that? You should know as the sales agent whether or not your company you sold to them that you work for, do they have an option for them to go to a CVS or a Walgreens or a Walmart for their OTC, or is it strictly online? Giving that type of guidance. Again, fix any surprises, re-verify those prescriptions. Did you get your prescription? If you took good notes, again, during point of service, Did Miss Jones change from Aetna to Humana? They have completely different preferred pharmacies. She might not be able to go to Walmart anymore. She might have to go to Walgreens, or she might not be able to go to CVS anymore. And so you need to make sure that those things are clear. People forget that stuff. Again, we're throwing the kitchen sink at them. It's a lot. All right. You can do what's the format for this? How am I going to do this? It can be a phone call. If you're an agent who likes a good organized calendar, you can text them a calendar scheduling link. There's Calendly, there's Microsoft Bookings. Many agents use these. You can just text it to your client to say, hey, I really want to book some time with you to answer any questions you might have about your plan. Okay, so let's say you enrolled 100 people your first AEP. That's 100 phone calls. That's a lot. But if your strategy is to just see who needs you while still reinforcing communication that I'm here for you, text them out a link with a little snapshot. If everything's working great for you, wonderful. Let me know if you have any issues. But if you have questions, here's my scheduling link. Book some time with me. Or you can send them an email. Okay. It's whatever's feasible for you. But again, reinforcing the communication in some way is going to be what retains your phone. Our 60-day touch point. At this point, are going to assume that at least sometime in January, that these people have used their plan. Okay, so they should have gotten prescriptions filled by February, right? You get those done every single month. And so we just want to make sure that everything's going to go smooth for our folks. We want to ensure they're using their benefits. I used to work for a carrier, and benefit utilization was a big deal to the insurance companies. And that would mean whether they kept a benefit or not. And so if your client, I can't tell you how many times I've had folks never use their OTC. They had $50 a month to be able to get Band-Aids. You just really want to make sure that they know and understand all these really cool things that are available. Some of these have transportation, and with transportation is a vendor, and they can get ride share, but they need to know what vendor to call. Do they have the phone number for member services? All right. So there's lots of things that we need to remind people of in the hopes that they use their plan. Okay. This again can be a text. It can be an email. Like, did you know your plan has OTC and ride share? Did you know it's got no dental network? It's open access. So all those things are really important. All right. So our 90-day touch point. 90 days is, you can skip it if you really feel like you've got a solid grip on the 30 and 60 days with your client, but you just really want to make sure that we get through these last 30 days of OEP without people getting picked off, right? Hopefully at this point we have done enough to leave our clients feeling that like somebody's got their back and that it is you. All right. So if there's any lingering issues from that 60-day checkup, that's what you really want to focus on here. Reinforce how to reach you year round, maybe preemptively set some type of mid-year expectation that, hey, I'm always available to you at any time, but I will probably be reaching out to you sometime around July just to see how things are going, and remind you that, at the end of summer, we will be touching base again to get things scheduled for the annual enrollment period. So this is also an opportunity for you to, again, ask for referrals or ask for testimonies. One of the business setup things we suggest is working with our marketing department to set up your Google business page. And you can ask for testimonies and reviews. You can text those out. And, you're going to end up realizing that this type of business that you're in, it creates relationships with people. You'll start going on appointments and seeing folks and servicing them year over year. And before you know it, you've got their whole family insured, and you show up and you've got a fresh baked pie. And you're coming home with cookies, and they're just loving on you. That's so gratifying because we're not selling stuff. We're not pushing something on people. We're educating and letting them choose. The real sale is you selling yourself, selling who you are, how you're talking to them, how you're servicing them, what you do for them. So that's all the important stuff. All right. Just making sure that we are setting expectations properly with our clients. We definitely want to make sure that we reduce any of that opportunity for attrition. Okay. Most of the time, people don't switch plans because of benefits. They switch because they didn't really understand the plan. Because remember, you asked the right questions at point of service. You, as the professional, found the plan that best matched everything that they were telling you. So if they claim that they switched plans because of their benefits, it's because they didn't really understand them. Did I do a good enough job explaining how dental worked? Miss Jones completely forgot that I told her her dentist wasn't in network, and she told me she was totally fine not seeing that guy anymore, and she was okay with finding a new dentist. I mean, people forget this kind of stuff, and that's okay. But what's not okay is you worked hard to get in front of this person. You worked really hard for the opportunity to sit at their kitchen table, at their coffee table, them come to your office or meet you at the library, whatever it is. You worked hard to get in front of that person. And so don't let it be for naught that you just didn't have a very simple, easy process at securing that relationship. And some common reasons that people do leave you. So let's make sure that these are things that we build in to our service. We don't want drug cost surprises. That directly impacts seniors' wallets. The first thing they're going to do is get upset. There's also a lot of medications out there that are considered, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? They are considered controlled substances when combined with other meds. So CMS came out with some laws where some of their medications, they only get a 7-day refill, and they have to get that prior authorized by the prescribing physician. So we don't want drug surprises, okay? And we want folks to know, hey, if you get prescribed something new in the middle of the year, call me and let's talk about it. All right. Maybe their PCP that they found on their own because I don't know, maybe they just decided to change in the middle of the year because Betty Joe, their neighbor, goes to Dr. So-and-so and loves the lady. And they're like, okay, great, I'm going to call and make an appointment. And they never make sure that this doctor's in network. That's not your fault, So again, communication, misunderstood benefits, unused benefits. Somebody comes in behind you. Your agent didn't tell you that this plan had $500 in dental. They didn't tell you that. Well, I'm sure you did because you're required to read the summary of benefits. But this agent honed in on the fact that this person said dental was important to them. So that's what they dove into. And maybe they explained more, or, any number of things can happen. Some things are totally out of your control, but I'm just saying, put your best foot forward. It doesn't need to be overkill. A lot of what we train on, yes, it's overkill. But we're just trying to inspire you and get it across that communication is the most important thing. And however you choose to do that, however it works for you, is how it works for you. And that's great. And if you find that something doesn't work and we need to pivot, call us and we can talk about it. All right, proactive expectation setting. We talked about this already. As much as you can reinforce to clients or leave them with checklists or leave them with things, always call me before making any changes. January can be super busy. Don't worry. I'm here to help you. Plans take a few weeks to settle. Let's do a check back in January. So just consistent reminders to folks. Now, really, this whole entire webinar has been about churn reduction tactics. We're doing everything we can to make sure that we retain our clients, that they stay with us. All right. And these are just some things that, an early welcome call can reduce client anxiety. A lot of times, if they don't hear from you kind of soon after, they think that this was just a one and done, that you just helped them enroll in something. They just went down to the Social Security office, and that person was just there to service them. No, you're actually there to build a relationship, to service them year over year. That 30, 60, 90 day, it's going to prevent that buyer's remorse. Benefits walkthroughs reduce that confusion. Again, the kitchen sink you're throwing at them. Being proactive is going to beat competitors. You would not believe the smooth and slick talkers on the telephone that convince people to do all kinds of things. And then you get that, oh, Rachel, don't be mad at me. I answered the phone and I think I made a mistake. And I let this lady talk me into X, Y, and Z. And I think I'm on a different plan. I got these Cigna cards in the mail and I don't know what to do. It's going to happen. It does happen, but hopefully all of these things will help you reduce that. But again, creating that trusted advisor environment, long-term client loyalty, that's really what you're going for. A lot of agents like to describe themselves as local healthcare advocates because you're really here to help advocate for them. I used to get calls from agents. Hey, I just got a call from a client. And it's their daughter, actually, and their mom had a stroke and she's in, the intensive care unit. They want to transition her to a swing bed floor for therapy as quickly as possible. But Medicare Advantage isn't authorized for swing bed access because that's still inside the hospital. That's still an inpatient stay at the hospital. Med Advantage wants you out of there. They want you in a skilled nursing facility. So there's coordination that needs to happen. And we're here to help guide you through who to contact when those things happen. But you want to be that trusted advisor that can help be a problem solver for them. Expect a synopsis from us of all the things that we covered today. You're going to get an email. And just remember, onboarding your client is retention. Retention is going to equal less open enrollment churn. Consistency from you is what's going to build trust. And you got to have some kind of 30, 60, 90 day touch point with your clients. Okay. So figure out what CRM you want to use, start loading clients into it, get all of this scheduled out. We have scripts and templates that we can give you and all kinds of collateral that we create all the time. And at a certain point, once you become a veteran at this, the script lives here. Right? We don't need that help anymore, but we're here to help, right? We're here to help you build that confidence. You can do it. Thousands of people do it. And just figure out what makes you different, what makes you you. All right. If you guys have any questions, please follow up with your sales development manager. Again, I am Rachel with National Contracting Center. I am the national sales manager here, and we are all here to help you guys grow.